I'd like to now introduce Cecilie Mauritzen, the director of CICERO, to give us a reality check. I looked on her webpage, and she is the physical oceanographer, the director of CICERO, and her background is on water mass transformations, among other things. And she has been a pioneer and leader in bringing together climate change, oceans, and human societies. So I'd like to welcome everybody. Welcome, Cecilia, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Karen. I never thought that water mass transformation could become such a buzzword, at least the transformation part. That's a transformative point in my life, I have to say. At any rate, thank you for being allowed to come to and give a little talk on this beginning day of the conference. I want to begin with the IPCC reports. As you know, there is a fifth report coming out, the first part this fall, that's on the physical basis, and the rest next year. And I'm a lead author there, and I am not, it's not a big secret that these points here, the main outputs of the previous reports, will be even stronger in the next one. I can leak that much. And we know, there's a lot of indicators of a warming world. Often we say climate change is temperature change, but it isn't really. There's a lot of indicators of climate change that are, snow, ocean, my ocean is changing. Humidity. Sea ice in particular is a very powerful image of climate change because polar bears are so cute on photographs. But in fact, it is a very powerful image because actually a lot of the climate system is very complicated, right? But sea ice is not that complicated. You see here on this picture, this is as nerdy as I'm going to get, the gray continued line, that's sea ice in a world, these are lots of climate models, where men don't emit anything. These are just natural forces. Where sea ice just continues straight ahead into the end of this century. With a lot of variability, as you can see. Whereas all the various colors, those are models that are run with both natural and anthropogenic forcing, and you see they all tend to melt away, just like the sea ice is. That's the thick red line. So sea ice, you could almost say that if you wanted to have a powerful or a movement, you would say stop the melting of the sea ice, because it really is directly connected on long time scales to the man-made emissions. There's also other changes that you can, or graphs of change that you can put forward. For instance, when you change the average temperature, you will change the number of extremes as well. It's the tail ends of these graphs that are the most important for people, not the whatever happens to the average temperature. It's what it includes, whether it's of extremes or sea ice or whatever. That's what's important. But we know that these kinds of information doesn't work. We know that. We know that communication research tells you we can scream and scream and scream of climate change, and it doesn't work. People don't listen. These are not my colleagues, by the way. People, these are the scenarios that, let me just see. Oh, okay. These are a couple of those scenarios that Karen just showed us. The 2-degree pathway and the 4-degree pathway. And as she said, we're faster than the red one. The observations are the little dots that you follow up there to 2012. And the question is, can we choose and what are we choosing between. And then you can put up images of, your favorite climate variable. 2 degrees is that kind of like now. One of the key problems with the 4 to 6 degrees average temperature is, of course, the changes in the hydrological cycle and where water will fall and where it won't fall. At any rate, there's a choice here. We're at the historical moment in time. Never have we known so much about the climate system. And yet, can we choose? We know from studies of human nature that people, as much as they say they want to have choices, they don't like them. If you put a naked person on the middle of a huge open field and say, choose whatever you want, they go crazy. They don't know what to do. People much more like to respond to incremental choices. Like this is what the interior decorators, will want you to imagine the parties you can have in this great kitchen. So you want the nicer kitchen because you already had a kitchen. You want a nicer one. Incremental thoughts. That's what people like. Those are the choices we like. Okay, I remember I'm a physical oceanographer, so I'm sure there are people here who will correct me on details here, but you follow my train of thought here, okay? But they are influenced. Now I will tell you about last Christmas. I was up in my cabin in the mountains for 10 days, and I got this craving of knitting. And by the end of the Christmas holiday, 10 days, this was my production. I was very proud. But I wonder, what was that? It was almost like you're pregnant and you start craving, pickles or something. And then I realized when I got back to town that, of course, there's been this fad going on in Norway with knitting. Knitting has suddenly become very popular. I haven't been knitting since I was a student 30 years ago. So I am also, we're all influenced by powerful signals that are out there, and of course the people with power know how to use this. So therefore, this was kind of innocent. It didn't harm anything, but you can also imagine. In fact, it was good. I recommend it to anybody who needs to kind of calm down. But we are influenced, and that we can use. This is maybe we're not this influenced, but I thought it was kind of a cool image anyway. So I'm going to put up some influential experiments that we've been doing with CICERO and also at CICERO with Green Nudge. Let me try that. Bear with me, 2 minutes.
It's the story of our first Green Nudge. It's the story of how we can change customer behaviour for the benefit of everyone. The story of how better energy labelling can help European consumers save the environment and money at the same time. We know people have a tendency to underestimate the total cost of things they buy. When buying a car, we focus on its sales price rather than its unique gas expenses. Most people never consider buying the most expensive tumble dryer in the store, even if it will be the cheapest in use at home. We wanted to test if
Okay. Let's see if I can get back here. So there's a lot of research on how to make people, how we can use this fact that people are influential. And we can be smart. There are a lot of other people more powerful than us that can be smart, so are smart. And we know a lot about who, where that power is coming from. But I think we should use it too. We should be very street smart. But back to the reality check. The choice. We need to transform. How do we, also the two choices. We need to get back to this low carbon pathway, which has certain implication of emissions. These are very technical things. And there is a very nonlinear cost impact here that says that the longer you wait, the more expensive it is. And not just, not linearly expensive, but exponentially more expensive. So this is, of course it can be done. These are economical, feasible, but we are at this historical place where we could do it, and it wouldn't cost much, and it actually is the best time to do it. So my answer to what is transformation is a simple equation. It is, you have to have an equation from a natural scientist, of course. I could be very nerdy and say it's a function of imagination, but it's not business as usual. That is for sure. And therefore, I am so glad we have this conference here, and I wish you the best of luck, and myself the best of luck, and looking forward to it. So thank you very much.